on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
7:36, it's O'Connor and Company on this Thursday morning where we're covering President Biden's remarks from the Oval Office last night. We're covering Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech to a joint session of Congress, the Hamas protests, a ton going on. At 8:05, KT McFarland will join us. And at 8:35, the Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Miyares. I'm Larry O'Connor. Hey, that's Mercedes Schlepp. I know you. Hi, Mercy.
Hi, Larry. How you doing?
And you're
Are
dying
you
to tell the
yet,
story
or
about...
we're holding tight?
No, we're good. Never tired.
Never
I know you want to
tired.
tell the story about our trip to the farmers market in Rappahannock, Virginia, but we've got more details to get to here that's much more important. So hold that thought. We're joined now by Representative Mike Lawler of New York, who was there for the speech in the House chamber, but also was sort of firsthand witnessing these Hamas protests that took over the Cannon office building the day before and went well into a violent scene last night at Union Station. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
I guess I first want to start with the positive news, and that is what I thought was one of the most stirring speeches in that chamber from a foreign leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, really defining why this alliance between the U.S. and Israel has endured and why it must continue to endure. And yet many of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle, Rashida Tlaib notably, they didn't quite see it that way. What do you make of that?
I thought it was an extremely powerful and pointed speech. I thought he hit all the right notes, both in terms of talking about the importance of the U.S.-Israel relationship, but also calling out the protesters and some of my colleagues, calling them useful idiots for Iran. And he was 100% correct on that, because that's exactly what they've been, parroting the talking points of Hamas, talking up the propaganda that Hamas has put forward to the rest of the world, blaming Israel for the death counts in Gaza, when in fact Hamas continues to use innocent Palestinians as human shields, and making a very important point, which is that Israel's fight is our fight, and their victory will be our victory. And I think as we move forward, obviously the vast majority of members of Congress support Israel and will continue to support Israel. You saw Rashida Tlaib there. You saw Jerry Nadler and Chuck Schumer, two of the highest-ranking Jewish Democrats in American history, sitting there with scowls on their face. It's sad where the Democratic Party has gone, and obviously these folks beholden to the pro-Hamas lunatics that were outside the Capitol, taking down American flags, burning them, and raising Palestinian flags at Union Station yesterday.
I mean, I think one of the things we also noted is who was not there with, and you saw Speaker Nancy Pelosi also making these, I think, very critical remarks of Netanyahu, basically saying that it was the worst speech that a foreign dignitary has given at the U.S. Congress. I mean, it just shows how far left and how anti-Semitic the Democrat Party has become. I mean, do you think the American people, and especially Jewish voters, do they see this?
Well, no one's going to take decorum lessons from the woman who ripped up the State of the Union.
Well spotted.
And led to the downfall of the current president, too.
She absolutely knifed him right in the back and took him out. And, that speaks volumes to the party of democracy and protecting democracy. But, look, ultimately, I think the Democratic Party has a major problem in November as it pertains to the Jewish vote, because they have made it very clear that they are more beholden to the pro-Hamas wing of their party than they are to upholding our Judeo-Christian values, than they are to upholding the special relationship between the United States and Israel. And I think what they fail to recognize, and these are many of the same people who obviously have been among the most outspoken in support of Ukraine, and I myself have been supportive of Ukraine. We have threats emanating around the globe from Russia, China, and Iran. And for whatever reason, the Democratic Party does not want to stand up to Iran in the same way they want to stand up to Vladimir Putin and Russia. And it is befuddling to me when you look at what is happening around the globe. And the fact is, under Joe Biden, Iranian petroleum sales are up $100 billion. Those are the funds that are being used to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and other terror networks in the region. So for the life of me, I can't understand why they have taken this position to be against the state of Israel and against Prime Minister Netanyahu when he's simply trying to defend not only his country, but trying to defend peace and stability throughout the world.
Yeah, Congressman Lawler is our guest, not just Vice President Harris, but former Speaker Pelosi, Democrat Whip Jim Clyburn, Steve Cohen of Tennessee, Senate President Pro Tem Patty Murray, not there. The one Democrat they decided to put in there in place of the vice president as the de facto Senate president was Ben Cardin of Maryland, who isn't facing re-election. You say for some reason Democrats are taking this new, because they didn't used to have this position. They used to be very much in support of the state of Israel. It was something you could count on bipartisanly. Let's narrow down. Let's focus on what this reason is. It really, do you believe it really boils down to the power that Rashida Tlaib and the state of Michigan, the Dearborn, Michigan caucus that appears to be very pro-Hamas and are you seeing that in your state of New York as well? Is this a real political force that they're scared of, or is it a fundraising thing? Where is this coming from?
Oh, this is purely political. There's no question about that. When Chuck Schumer goes out and demands Bibi Netanyahu be replaced, when Nancy Pelosi calls on him to resign, when they boycott the speech, this is all about Michigan and Minnesota and appeasing a radical base that is growing. And it has nothing to do with actual policy and everything to do with politics. It's shameful. And I think the vice president, who seeks to be president of the United States, commander-in-chief, and lead our nation's foreign policy, should have been there. She has access to a plane. She easily could have gotten from the speech to where she needed to go to speak at a sorority in no time if she chose to. She chose not to. And I think that speaks volumes to where she is on this issue. She aligns herself with the far left of the Democratic Party. She was further to the left, no matter how much the media now try to whitewash that. She was further to the left than Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
When she was a member of the United States Senate.
I think you're right. We're going to get to that whitewashing actually in our next segment. Thanks for helping us tease it. Congressman Mike Lawler of New York, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.